They say the truth always comes out. But what happens when someone buries it so deep that even your own signature becomes evidence against you? My name appeared on bank transfers I never authorized. My electronic signature sat at the bottom of documents I'd never seen. And within 72 hours, my face was plastered across business headlines with one word underneath: criminal. I was fired on a Friday morning in the rain, scapegoated for fraud I'd actually tried to stop. My career, my reputation, my future, all of it collapsed into a cardboard box that split open on a San Francisco sidewalk. But the man who caught me when I stumbled, the billionaire who appeared out of nowhere with an umbrella and a business card, he saw something everyone else missed. He gave me a second chance. A real one. Not charity. A job, a purpose, a family I didn't know I needed. Then someone tried to destroy us both: forged documents, anonymous blog posts, a scandal designed to look so real that even people who knew me started to doubt. The foundation we'd built together began to crumble. Donors fled. The board demanded I leave. And a 7-year-old girl stopped playing her violin because she thought I'd abandoned her. But here's what they didn't count on. I don't break easily. And neither does he. This is the story of how I went from fired on Friday to hired by Monday, and how we fought back when the truth became the most dangerous weapon we had. The smell of wet pavement mixed with exhaust fumes outside the glass tower on Montgomery Street. Ava stood under the building's narrow awning, holding a collapsing banker's box against her chest. Rain hammered the sidewalk in sheets. Inside the box, 3 years of her life rattled. A coffee mug with a chipped handle, a framed certificate from her MBA program, a succulent that had died 2 months ago when overtime became her only schedule, her tailored blazer, navy, bought on sale, pressed every Sunday, was already soaked through at the shoulders. She'd walked out of the 40th floor conference room 20 minutes ago. No severance, no explanation that made sense. Just her boss, Richard Connors, sliding a termination letter across the table and saying the company needed a clean break after the Pemberton account fell apart. Ava had flagged the discrepancies in that account. She'd sent 3 emails to compliance. She'd done everything right. Now she was the scapegoat. The box slipped. She caught it with her knee, but the bottom gave way. Papers scattered across the wet concrete. A red stiletto, the backup pair she kept under her desk, skidded toward the gutter. Ava crouched, gathering contracts and post-it notes that bled ink in the rain, and that's when the umbrella appeared above her head. Black canopy. Expensive fabric. "Steady hand, let me help," a voice said, calm, low, not a question. Ava looked up. The man holding the umbrella wore a charcoal suit that fit like it had been sewn directly onto his frame. Dark hair, streaked with early silver at the temples, eyes the color of slate, focused on her scattered belongings with the same intensity most people reserved for boardroom negotiations. He crouched beside her, picked up the stiletto, handed it over without commentary. "Thank you," Ava managed. Her voice came out smaller than she wanted. He gathered the rest of the papers, stacked them with care, held the umbrella over both of them while she tried to salvage what was left of the box. When it was clear the cardboard wouldn't hold, he pulled a business card from his jacket pocket and pressed it into her palm. "If you need help," he said, "call that number." Then he was gone, disappeared into a black town car idling at the curb. Ava looked at the card. Embossed lettering. Logan Pierce, Aurora Foundation, she'd heard the name. Everyone had. Billionaire philanthropist. Tech sector. Kept a low profile. She stuffed the card into her blazer pocket and focused on getting home before hypothermia set in. If you want to see how one man's umbrella changed everything, hit subscribe and stick with us. This story gets wild. Ava's studio apartment in the Mission District smelled like instant ramen and old radiator heat. She peeled off her wet clothes, wrapped herself in a bathrobe that had seen better years, and opened her laptop on the kitchen counter. Severance 0, savings 3 months if she stopped buying coffee. Rent due in 2 weeks. She pulled up LinkedIn. Her profile picture smiled back at her. Hopeful, competent, employed. She started scrolling through job postings. Junior analyst positions she was overqualified for. Senior roles that wanted 5 years at a Fortune 100. Everything required references, and her last boss had just thrown her under a moving bus. Her phone buzzed. Unknown number. Ava almost didn't answer. "But desperation makes you reckless, Ms. Bennett." The voice was polished, female, efficient. "This is Claire Ashford, executive assistant to Logan Pierce. Mr. Pierce would like to extend an invitation for coffee tomorrow morning, 10 a.m. at Verve on Market Street. Would that work for you? Ava's brain stuttered. Yes. Yes, that works. Excellent. He'll see you then. The line went dead. Ava stared at her phone, then at the business card still damp sitting on the counter. Aurora Foundation. She Googled it. The foundation focused on economic mobility programs, scholarships, small business grants, career transition support. Their website showed a building in Soma with floor-to-ceiling windows and a tagline that read, "Potential, not pity." She clicked through to the staff page. Logan Pierce's photo was minimal. Just his face, no smile, eyes slightly narrowed like he was mid-thought. Underneath, founder and chair, former CEO, Pierce Technologies. Net worth estimated at $4.2 billion. Ava closed the laptop, opened it again. Read 3 articles about Pierce. Reclusive, methodical. Lost his wife to cancer 6 years ago. No scandals, no gossip. Just quarterly reports and foundation galas where he gave speeches about dignity and systems change. Why would a man like that want coffee with a woman he'd met for 90 seconds in the rain? The next morning, Ava arrived at Verve 20 minutes early. She wore her interview suit, black, conservative, the one that said "I'm serious but not threatening." The cafe was crowded with freelancers on MacBooks and venture capitalists doing breakfast pitch meetings. She ordered a cortado she couldn't afford and sat by the window. Logan Pierce walked in at 9:58. He moved through the space like someone used to people stepping aside. Not arrogant, just inevitable. He spotted Ava, nodded, ordered black coffee at the counter, and joined her at the table. "Thank you for coming," he said, settling into the chair across from her. "Thank you for the umbrella," Ava replied, a flicker of something, amusement? Approval crossed his face. "You looked like someone who'd had a rough morning." "That's one way to put it. I looked up your work after we met." He took a sip of coffee. 3 years at Halstead and Crane. You flagged the Pemberton account. Sent documentation to compliance. Then they fired you for it." Ava's pulse spiked. "How do you—" "I know Richard Connors," Logan said. "He's been playing shell games with client funds for 2 years. You got too close and nobody stopped him?" "Not yet." Logan leaned back. "But that's not why I asked you here. I'm rebuilding the leadership team at Aurora. We've been running on autopilot for too long. The board wants us to scale, but I won't scale the wrong way. I need someone who understands that dignity isn't a handout. That economic mobility starts with seeing people as capable, not broken." Ava's brain caught up. "You're offering me a job?" "I'm offering you a conversation. Come to the foundation Monday morning. Meet the team. See if it's a fit. If you're interested, we'll talk terms." "I don't even know what the role is." "Director of programs. You'd oversee grants, partnerships, impact measurement. Build the scaffolding for growth without losing the mission." He set his coffee down. "You're smart. You have integrity. And you know what it's like to be scapegoated. That last part matters more than people think." Ava looked at him. Really looked. There was no performance in his expression. No charm offensive. Just a man stating facts and waiting for her response. "Monday," she said. 10 a.m.? 9, I'll send Claire your way." He stood, left cash on the table for both coffees, and walked out. Ava sat there for another 10 minutes staring at her empty cup, wondering if desperation had just turned into opportunity, or if she'd walked into something far more complicated. The Aurora Foundation occupied 3 floors of a renovated warehouse in Soma. Exposed brick, open floor plan, light pouring through skylights. Ava walked in Monday morning wearing the same black suit and hoping confidence was something you could fake until it became real. Claire Ashford met her in the lobby. Mid-40s, sharp bob, tablet in hand. "Ms. Bennett, welcome. Mr. Pierce is waiting upstairs." The elevator opened onto the top floor. Logan's office was glass-walled, visible to everyone on the floor. Ava could see him through the transparent partition, reviewing documents at a standing desk. Claire knocked once and ushered her inside. "Ava," Logan said, not looking up from the contract he was marking with a red pen. "Good, have a seat." She sat. The office was spare. No trophies. No ego wall. Just a bookshelf with policy reports and a single framed photo on the desk. A woman with warm eyes and a cautious smile. His late wife, Ava guessed. Logan finished his notes, set the pen down, and faced her. "Let me be clear about how we operate here. This isn't corporate theater. I don't need yes people. I need people who'll tell me when something's broken and have the guts to propose a fix. You'll have autonomy over program design, but you'll report to me directly. No layers. No bureaucracy. Understood. The board has been pushing me to expand into new cities. Seattle, Portland, Denver. They want flashy announcements. I want infrastructure that doesn't collapse the moment we scale. Your job is to build that infrastructure. Grant systems. Impact metrics. Partner vetting. If we're going to put our name on something, it has to work. Ava leaned forward. What's your definition of work? Real outcomes. Not press releases. If we give someone a small business loan, I want to know they're still operating 2 years later. If we fund a scholarship, I want to know the student graduated and found meaningful work. We measure dignity by what people can sustain, not by what we hand them. That's going to take time, and it won't look impressive on quarterly reports. Good. Logan's expression didn't shift. Then we're aligned. He slid a folder across the desk. Offer letter. Salary, benefits, equity options. Read it. If you have questions, ask. If you want changes, negotiate. I expect honesty. About everything. Ava opened the folder. The salary was more than she'd made at Halstead and Crane. The benefits included healthcare, retirement matching, and professional development funds. The equity clause was generous. But there was another document underneath, a non-disclosure agreement. This NDA, Ava said, scanning the terms. It covers foundation strategy, donor relationships, and... She paused. Personal matters? I'm a private person, Logan said. The foundation is public. My life is not. If you work here, you'll see both. I need to know you understand the boundary. I do. Then sign if you're in. Start Wednesday. Claire will get you set up. Ava looked at the papers, at the salary, at the man across the desk who'd pulled her out of the rain and was now offering her a way forward. She thought about Richard Connors and the Pemberton account and 3 years of work that had ended in a wet box on the sidewalk. She signed. Want to see how Ava earns her place in Logan's world? Drop a comment and let us know, then hit subscribe for the next chapter. Ava's first week at Aurora was a controlled drowning. She met program managers, reviewed grant applications, sat through budget meetings where every line item was dissected like evidence in a trial. Claire walked her through donor databases and board member bios. The team was small, 20 people total, but every person Logan had hired was sharp, mission-driven, and protective of the foundation's reputation. On Friday afternoon, Claire appeared at Ava's desk. Mr. Pierce needs you at a donor dinner tonight. 7 p.m., the Fairmont. Business formal. Ava looked up from the spreadsheet she'd been building. Tonight? Mrs. Whitmore. She's considering a 7-figure commitment to our Seattle expansion. Logan wants you there to answer program questions. I've been here 4 days. Then you'll have fresh perspective. Claire's smile was polite and final. Car picks you up at 6:30. Ava went home, showered, and pulled the one cocktail dress she owned from the back of her closet. Black. Simple. 3 years old, but still acceptable. She paired it with the red stilettos Logan had picked up off the sidewalk. Armor, she told herself. Confidence you can walk in. The car arrived on time. Logan was already inside, reviewing notes on his phone. He glanced up when she slid into the seat beside him. You didn't have to do this, Ava said. Mrs. Whitmore asks detailed questions. I need someone who can answer them without sounding rehearsed. I've never done a donor pitch. Then tonight you'll learn. He pocketed his phone. She'll test you. She likes to see how people handle pressure. Don't oversell. Don't apologize. Just tell her what we do and why it matters. That's it. That's everything. The Fairmont's private dining room overlooked the city. Crystal chandeliers. White tablecloths. A harpist playing something soft and forgettable in the corner. Mrs. Eleanor Whitmore was 70, silver-haired and dressed in a silk gown that probably cost more than Ava's rent. She greeted Logan with a hug and studied Ava with the eyes of someone who'd spent decades evaluating investments. And who's this? Mrs. Whitmore asked. Ava Bennett, Logan said. Our new director of programs. Lovely. Mrs. Whitmore extended a hand. Her grip was firm. Tell me, Ava, why should I give Logan's foundation money when there are a dozen other organizations doing the same work? Ava felt Logan's attention shift to her. The room quieted. Even the harpist seemed to pause between notes. Because we don't do the same work, Ava said. She met Mrs. Whitmore's gaze and held it. Most organizations measure success by dollars distributed. We measure it by outcomes sustained. If we fund a small business, we track it for 3 years. If it fails, we do an exit interview and figure out why. We're not interested in press releases. We're interested in what works. Mrs. Whitmore's eyebrow lifted. That sounds expensive. It is. But scaling broken systems just breaks more people. We'd rather move slowly and get it right. Logan, Mrs. Whitmore said, not breaking eye contact with Ava. Where did you find her? On a sidewalk, Logan said. In the rain, Mrs. Whitmore laughed. Actually laughed. Well, that's the best answer I've heard all year. She turned to Logan. You have my commitment. 7 figures, but I want quarterly impact reports, real ones, not marketing fluff. You'll get them, Logan said. Dinner proceeded. Ava answered questions about grant criteria, partner vetting, and program expansion timelines. Mrs. Whitmore asked about Ava's background. Ava kept it brief: analyst work, compliance flagging, a messy exit, and Mrs. Whitmore nodded like she'd heard the story before in different forms. When dessert arrived, Mrs. Whitmore leaned toward Ava. You know what I like about you? What's that? You didn't try to charm me. Most people do. They think money buys flattery. But you treated this like a job interview. That's smart. It felt like a job interview. Good instincts. Mrs. Whitmore glanced at Logan. Keep this one. She's got spine. In the car afterward, Logan was quiet. Ava stared out the window at the city lights blurring past. You did well, he said finally. She's terrifying. She respects competence. You gave her that. Ava turned to look at him. Did you know she'd grill me? I hoped she would. Logan's expression was unreadable. You needed to know you could handle it. Now you do. The car pulled up outside Ava's building. Logan walked her to the door, unnecessary, but he did it anyway. On the steps, he paused. Mrs. Whitmore was right, he said. You've got spine. Don't lose it. Then he was back in the car, and Ava was alone on her stoop, heart still racing, wondering when exactly Logan Pierce had stopped being a stranger and started being something else entirely. 2 weeks into the job, Ava learned that Logan Pierce's life operated on multiple frequencies. There was the public Logan, controlled, distant, measured in every syllable. Then there was the version she saw in morning meetings, sleeves rolled, up, coffee going cold on his desk, asking questions that cut through corporate speak like a scalpel through tissue. And then there was the Logan nobody talked about. Claire mentioned it first. Mr. Pierce's son has a parent-teacher conference Thursday afternoon. He'll need to leave by 2. Ava looked up from her laptop. Son? Claire's expression flickered, surprise, then calculation. Maya, 7 years old. She goes to Harbor Academy in Pacific Heights. Mr. Pierce doesn't discuss her publicly. NDA applies. Ava nodded, filed the information away. Wondered how a billionaire managed single parenthood while running a foundation and maintaining a business empire. Thursday came. Logan appeared in Ava's office at 1:45. I need you to come with me, he said. To a parent-teacher conference? Maya's teacher wants to discuss her progress. I'd like a second perspective. Someone who understands systems and outcomes. He paused. If you're uncomfortable, I'll get my coat. Harbor Academy occupied a converted Victorian mansion near Lafayette Park. Tall windows, polished hardwood, student artwork covering every available wall. Logan signed in at the front, desk muscle memory routine, and led Ava down a hallway lined with cubbies and tiny backpacks. Maya's classroom was at the end of the corridor. Bright, organized, alphabet charts and a reading corner with beanbags. A woman in her 30s stood near the window, arranging papers on a desk. She turned when they entered. Mr. Pierce, right on time. The teacher's smile was warm but professional. She glanced at Ava. And you are? Ava Bennett. I work with Logan at the Aurora Foundation. The teacher, Ms. Chen, according to the nameplate on her desk, gestured to 2 chairs. Please, sit. I wanted to talk about Maya's reading comprehension. She's excelling in math and science, but she's resistant to group reading activities. Keeps to herself during story time. Won't participate in book discussions. Logan's posture didn't change, but Ava saw his jaw tighten. Has something happened? Not exactly. But the other children have noticed. They've started excluding her from playground games. Yesterday, I overheard 2 students saying Maya's weird because she doesn't talk about her family. Ava watched Logan process this. His hands were folded in his lap, knuckles pale. Maya lost her mother when she was 18 months old, Logan said quietly. She doesn't remember her, but she knows other children have mothers, and she doesn't. That awareness creates distance. Ms. Chen nodded. I understand, and I'm not suggesting Maya needs to share personal details, but she might benefit from structured social opportunities, small group projects, paired reading, things that build trust gradually. What would that look like? Ms. Chen pulled out a folder. Inside were examples of peer mentorship programs, buddy reading systems, and after-school activities designed for shy or grieving children. Logan reviewed each page with the same intensity he brought to foundation budgets. Ava leaned forward. What does Maya enjoy? What makes her feel safe? Ms. Chen smiled. She loves puzzles, and she's protective of younger kids. Last week, a kindergartner fell on the playground. Maya was the first one there. Helped him up. Walked him to the nurse. She's empathetic. She just doesn't know how to translate that into friendships. So she needs structure, Ava said. Not pressure, a role that lets her help others without feeling exposed. Exactly. Logan looked at Ava. Something shifted in his expression. Recognition, maybe. Gratitude. We'll try the buddy reading program, he said to Ms. Chen. Pair Maya with a younger student, see if that opens things up. I think that's a good start. Ms. Chen stood. Maya's a wonderful child, Mr. Pierce. She just needs time. And patience. Outside, the afternoon light slanted gold across the park. Logan walked slowly, hands in his pockets. Ava matched his pace. Thank you, he said after a block of silence. For what? For asking the right question. What makes her feel safe? I should have asked that. You were focused on fixing the problem. That's my instinct. Systems. Solutions. But Maya isn't a system. They reached a bench overlooking the playground. Logan sat. Ava joined him. Her mother died of pancreatic cancer, Logan said. Stage 4. 6 months from diagnosis to the end. Maya doesn't remember her. But I do. Every day. And I keep thinking, if I'd built Aurora earlier, if I'd funded the right research, if I'd moved faster, you can't fix the past. No, but I can build something that prevents other people from living through it. That's what Aurora is. A system that might have saved her. That might save someone else. Ava looked at him. Really looked. The man in the tailored suit, the billionaire with the foundation and the pristine reputation. He was just a father trying to make sense of a loss he couldn't control. Maya's lucky, Ava said. She has you. Logan's laugh was quiet, humorless. Most days I'm not sure that's enough. It is. They sat in silence. Across the park, children shouted and played. Ava thought about systems and dignity and the gap between what you can fix and what you can only survive. If you're hooked on this story, drop a comment and don't forget to subscribe. You won't want to miss what happens next. The Seattle expansion launched on a rainy Tuesday in November. Logan flew the core team north for a press conference and donor reception. Ava spent the flight reviewing talking points and trying not to think about the fact that she'd been at Aurora for less than 2 months and was now representing the foundation to a room full of millionaires and journalists. The venue was a renovated waterfront space with views of Elliott Bay. Rain hammered the glass walls. Inside, donors mingled over champagne and hors d'oeuvres, while reporters clustered near the stage, recording devices ready. Logan gave the keynote. Measured, clear. He talked about economic mobility as infrastructure, not charity, about outcomes over optics, about the need to scale responsibly. Ava watched from the side of the room, noting how he commanded attention without raising his voice. Afterward, the press swarmed. Ava fielded questions about grant criteria and impact metrics. She cited numbers she'd memorized, explained vetting processes, Stayed calm when a journalist from a local business magazine asked if Aurora was just rich people buying good PR. We don't measure success by press coverage, Ava said. We measure it by whether the businesses we fund are still operating 2 years later, whether the students we support graduate and find meaningful work. If that generates good PR, it's a side effect, not the goal. The journalist scribbled notes. That's a refreshing answer. It's the only answer that matters. Later, at the donor reception, Ava circulated with a glass of sparkling water she wasn't drinking. She answered the same questions she'd answered for the press. She shook hands with tech executives and nonprofit directors. She smiled until her face hurt. Then she saw the woman, mid-50s, designer dress, expensive jewelry. She was standing near the bar, talking to another donor, and something about her posture made Ava's stomach tighten. The woman turned, met Ava's eyes, and smiled. "You're the new programs director," the woman said, approaching with a champagne flute in hand. "Ava Bennett, isn't it?" "That's right." "Veronica Hale. I'm on the board at Meridian Trust. We do similar work. Economic development, small business support. I've been following Aurora's model with interest. We appreciate the attention." Veronica's smile didn't reach her eyes. "I understand you used to work at Halstead and Crane, with Richard Connors." Ava's pulse spiked. "Briefly. Terrible what happened with the Pemberton account. All that money mismanaged. And they blamed you, didn't they? Poor thing, it must have been devastating." "It was a learning experience, I'm sure." Veronica took a sip of champagne. "But tell me, how does Logan Pierce feel about hiring someone with that kind of controversy in their background? Does he know the full story? Or did you leave some details out?" The air in the room seemed to thicken. Ava kept her expression neutral, but her mind was racing. This wasn't casual conversation. This was a test, or a threat. "Logan knows everything," Ava said evenly. "I don't hide my past. I flagged financial irregularities at Halstead and Crane. They fired me for it. If that's controversial, I'll wear the label." Veronica's smile widened. "Brave answer. Let's hope Logan agrees." She drifted away into the crowd. Ava stood frozen for 3 seconds. Then she found Claire. "Who is Veronica Hale?" Claire's expression tightened. "Board member at Meridian Trust. She's been trying to merge with Aurora for 2 years. Logan keeps saying no. She doesn't take rejection well. She just implied I'm a liability. She's fishing. Ignore her." But Ava couldn't ignore it. Because, across the room, Veronica was talking to Logan now, leaning in close, saying something that made his expression flatten into stone. The flight back to San Francisco was quiet. Logan stared out the window at clouds illuminated by moonlight. Ava worked on her laptop, typing grant summaries she'd already finished, just to have something to do with her hands. "Halfway through the flight," Logan spoke, "Veronica Hale told me you were involved in embezzlement at your last job." Ava's fingers froze on the keyboard. "That's not true." "I know." Logan turned to face her. "I had my attorney pull the Pemberton account files before I hired you. I know what Richard Connors did. I know you tried to stop it. I know they scapegoated you to protect themselves. Then why bring it up? Because Veronica is going to use it. She wants Aurora to fail. Or merge, preferably both. She'll spread rumors, plant stories, make donors question our vetting process. So what do we do?" Logan was quiet for a long moment. Then he reached into his briefcase and pulled out a folder. He set it on the tray table between them. "This is my wife's medical file." Ava stared at the folder, didn't touch it. "She was diagnosed when Maya was 3 months old," Logan continued. "The doctor said we had time. Maybe a year. Maybe 2 if the treatment worked. But the cancer was aggressive. Rare type, not enough research. Not enough funding. She died 6 months later. Logan, I tell you this because I need you to understand what Aurora is. It's not a vanity project. It's not a tax write-off. It's the system I wish had existed when my wife got sick. The infrastructure that might have saved her. And if people like Veronica Hale destroy it because they see it as competition, then I've failed her twice." Ava looked at the folder, at Logan's hands resting on the armrests, knuckles white. "I won't let that happen," she said. I know you won't, that's why I hired you. He picked up the folder, closed it, put it back in his briefcase. The moment passed. But something had shifted. Ava had seen the wound driving everything. The grief disguised as mission. The love transmuted into systems and spreadsheets and foundations that measured dignity and outcomes. What was her name? Ava asked quietly. Elena. Tell me about her. Logan's expression softened. Just a fraction. She taught second grade. Loved terrible puns. Made me watch romantic comedies even though I complained the whole time. When she was sick, she made me promise I'd raise Maya to be brave. Not fearless, brave. There's a difference, and what's the difference? Fearless people don't know danger exists. Brave people know it and move forward anyway. He looked at Ava. You're brave. That's rare. Ava's throat tightened. I'm mostly just stubborn. Stubborn works too. The plane descended through clouds. Below, the city spread out in grids of light. Ava thought about Ava Pierce and second graders and promises made in hospital rooms. She thought about systems built to honor the dead by protecting the living. And she thought about Veronica Hale's smile. The threat buried in champagne small talk. Whatever was coming, it wouldn't be subtle. Can Ava protect what Logan's built? Or will his past destroy both their futures? Hit subscribe to find out. December came with cold fog and early darkness. Aurora's Seattle office opened quietly. No fanfare, just a ribbon cutting with local nonprofit partners and a modest press release. Ava flew up twice a week, training staff, reviewing applications, building the infrastructure Logan had demanded. The work was relentless. But it was good. Real. Every grant she approved felt like a small correction to a tilted system. Then the email arrived. It came through Aurora's general inbox on a Wednesday afternoon. Ava was in a budget meeting when Claire interrupted, tablet in hand, face pale. You need to see this. The email was from an anonymous account. No subject line. Just a PDF attachment labeled Bennett Financial Records.pdf. Ava opened it. Her hands went cold. The document showed bank transfers, large ones, from Halstead and Crane accounts to an offshore entity in the Cayman Islands. Dates matched the Pemberton account timeline. And at the bottom of each transfer, an electronic signature, Ava M. Bennett. This is fake, Ava said. Her voice sounded distant. Underwater, are you sure? Claire's tone was carefully neutral. I never authorized these transfers. I flagged the Pemberton discrepancies. I sent emails to compliance. I did everything right. Who else has seen this? Just me. It came to the general inbox. But if someone sent it to us, they sent it to other people too. Ava finished the thought. She stood. I need to talk to Logan. Logan was in his office reviewing foundation bylaws with the legal team. Ava knocked once and walked in. The attorneys looked up, annoyed at the interruption. Logan saw her face and dismissed them immediately. What happened? Ava handed him the tablet. Watched him read. Watched his expression turn to granite. This is forgery, he said. I know, but it looks real. Electronic signatures can be faked. Timestamps can be manipulated. If this gets out, donors will panic. The board will demand answers. Veronica Hale will use it to force a merger or dissolve Aurora entirely. Logan set the tablet down. We need to find out who sent this. And we need to prove it's fake, fast. How? Start with Halstead and Crane. Pull your personnel file. Get copies of every email you sent about Pemberton. Request the compliance logs. If Richard Connors covered his tracks, someone at the firm knows how. Ava's pulse hammered. That could take weeks. Then we work fast. Logan stood. Walked to the window overlooking the city. There's something else. What? Maya asked about you yesterday. Wanted to know if you'd come to her school's winter concert. She's playing violin. Badly, she says, but she wants you there. Ava's breath caught. Logan, I told her I'd ask. He turned to face her. You don't have to come. But she asked. That's rare for her. Of course I'll come. Something softened in Logan's face. Relief, gratitude, something more fragile than either. Thank you. When is it? Friday night. 7 p.m., Ava nodded. Tried to ignore the feeling spreading through her chest. Warm, dangerous, too close to hope. Friday night arrived wrapped in fog and Christmas lights. Harbor Academy's auditorium was packed with parents, grandparents, and younger siblings clutching candy canes. Ava sat 3 rows back, scanning the stage for Maya. Logan slipped into the seat beside her 5 minutes before the concert started. He'd come straight from a board meeting, still in his suit. Tie loosened. He smelled like winter air and exhaustion. "Sorry I'm late," he murmured. "You're on time." The lights dimmed. The orchestra filed onto the stage, small children with oversized instruments and nervous smiles. Maya was in the second row, clutching her violin like a lifeline. She spotted Logan, then Ava, and her whole face changed. Bright, unguarded, real. The concert was chaos. Beautiful chaos. Off-key strings and enthusiastic percussion and a rendition of Jingle Bells that would haunt Ava's dreams. But Maya played with fierce concentration. When it ended, she took her bow with the rest of the orchestra, then scanned the audience until she found them again. Afterward, in the lobby, Maya ran straight to Logan and wrapped her arms around his waist. "Did you hear me mess up in the third song?" "I heard you keep going," Logan said. "That's harder." Maya looked at Ava. "You came. Wouldn't miss it. Do you play violin?" "No, but I played piano when I was your age, badly." Maya grinned. "Maybe we can be bad together." Logan's hand found Ava's elbow, gentle, deliberate. "Let's get ice cream," he said. They walked 3 blocks to a parlor that stayed open late. Maya ordered mint chip. Logan ordered black coffee. Ava got vanilla because her brain was too overwhelmed to make complex decisions. Maya chattered about school and puzzles and a book she was reading about a girl who solved mysteries. Logan listened with the same focus he brought to budget reviews. And Ava sat there eating ice cream in a bright, warm space, feeling like she'd stumbled into a life that wasn't hers but could be. On the walk back to the car, Maya slipped her hand into Ava's. "Thanks for coming," she said quietly. "Thanks for inviting me." In the car, Maya fell asleep against the window. Logan drove through fog-wrapped streets, one hand on the wheel, the other resting near Ava's on the center console. "Not touching, but close. She likes you," Logan said. "I like her too. She doesn't trust easily. Elena's death taught her that people leave." "I'm not going anywhere." Logan glanced at her. The streetlights caught his face, exhausted, hopeful, scared. "I hope that's true." Ava didn't answer. Because the forged documents were still out there. Because Veronica Hale was still circling. Because hope was a dangerous thing to build a future on. But in that moment, fog-wrapped and quiet, with Maya asleep in the back seat and Logan's hand inches from hers, Ava let herself believe it anyway. The scandal broke on a Monday morning. Ava woke to 17 missed calls and a text from Claire. "Check the news. Now." The headline was on every major business site. Aurora Foundation director tied to embezzlement scheme. Documents reveal pattern of financial fraud. The article cited leaked internal records showing transfers from Ava's previous employer to offshore accounts. It quoted anonymous sources claiming Ava had fled Halstead and Crane one step ahead of criminal charges. It suggested Logan Pierce had either been deceived or was complicit in covering up financial crimes. Ava read it 3 times. Then she threw up. By the time she arrived at Aurora's office, reporters were camped outside. She pushed through the crowd, microphones in her face, questions shouted, and made it to the elevator. Upstairs, the team was silent. People looked away when she passed. Claire was on the phone, voice clipped and furious. Logan's office door was closed. Ava knocked, no answer. She tried the handle, locked. "He's in an emergency board meeting," Claire said, hanging up. "They're deciding whether to suspend you pending an investigation." "This is fake." "All of it, I know. But the board doesn't care what's true. They care what's public." Ava's phone buzzed. Unknown number. She answered without thinking. "Ms. Bennett?" A man's voice. Smooth. Professional. "This is David Chen from the San Francisco District Attorney's Office. We'd like to speak with you regarding financial irregularities at your former employer." Ava's vision narrowed. "Am I being charged?" "Not at this time. But we're opening an investigation. We'll need you to come in for questioning." "I want a lawyer." "That's your right." A pause. "For what it's worth, Ms. Bennett, we're interested in Richard Connors, not you. But we need your cooperation." The line went dead. Ava sat at her desk staring at nothing. Around her, the office hummed with whispered conversations and worried glances. Her phone kept buzzing. Journalists, acquaintances from business school. Her landlord asking if the news would affect her ability to pay rent. Then Logan's office door opened. He walked out, followed by 3 board members. His face was stone. He looked at Ava across the open floor plan, and for the first time since she'd met him, she couldn't read his expression. "My office," he said. "Now." Ava closed the door behind her. Logan stood by the window, hands in his pockets, shoulders rigid. "The board wants you on leave," he said. "Effective immediately, with pay. Until the investigation concludes." "I didn't do this." "I know." "Then why?" "Because donors are panicking. Because Veronica Hale is calling every person on our mailing list and suggesting Aurora is a front for money laundering. Because perception is reality, and right now the perception is that I hired a criminal." Ava's chest tightened. "You think I'm a liability. I think you're innocent." Logan turned to face her. "But I can't prove it, not yet. And until I can, Aurora is in danger. Everything we've built. Every person we've helped. If the foundation collapses because I refuse to act, that's on me. So you're choosing Aurora over me. I'm choosing Aurora over everything, including myself." His voice cracked. Just slightly. "That's what this has always been." Ava understood then. Not just intellectually, but in her bones. Logan wasn't protecting himself. He was protecting Elena's legacy. The system built in her name. The promise he'd made in a hospital room 6 years ago. "I'll clear my desk," Ava said quietly. "No." Logan's tone sharpened. "You'll go home. You'll rest. You'll let me handle this. How? I don't know yet. But I will." He pulled an envelope from his desk drawer and handed it to her. Inside was a check. 6 months' salary. "In case this takes time." "Logan, take it, please." Ava looked at the check. At the man who'd pulled her out of the rain and given her a second chance and was now watching that chance disintegrate in real time. "I'm going to fix this," she said. "I know you'll try." She left through the back exit to avoid the reporters. Drove home in silence. Sat in her apartment staring at the walls and trying to figure out how to fight an enemy who didn't play fair. Her phone buzzed. A text from an unknown number. "You should have stayed down. Now you're going to lose everything." Ava stared at the message. Then she called the one person who might help, Richard Connors. Her old boss. The man who'd scapegoated her. The man who knew exactly who'd forged those documents. Will Ava find the proof she needs, or has she already lost everything? Subscribe now and tell us in the comments what you'd do in her position. Richard Connors didn't answer his phone. Ava left 3 voicemails, each one more desperate than the last. She tried his office line at Halstead and Crane. Got a recording saying he was on extended leave. That was corporate speak for under investigation or negotiating a settlement, or already halfway to a country without extradition treaties. Ava paced her apartment. 2 rooms, 1 window. Rent due in a week. The check Logan had given her sat on the counter uncashed. She couldn't bring herself to deposit it. It felt like accepting defeat. Her phone buzzed. A text from Claire Board voted. "You're officially suspended. Don't contact anyone at Aurora until this is resolved." "I'm sorry." Ava sat on the floor, her back against the wall. The apartment was too quiet. No traffic sounds. No neighbors. Just her and the wreckage of a career that had lasted exactly 2 months. Another text. This one from a blocked number. "Check your email." Ava opened her laptop. New message in her inbox. Subject line: "The truth about Ava Bennett." The body of the email was empty except for a link to a blog post. Ava clicked it. The post was titled "From Analyst to Criminal: How Ava Bennett Infiltrated Aurora Foundation." It was detailed, thorough. It cited the forged bank transfers. It quoted former colleagues who described Ava as ambitious, ruthless, willing to cut corners. It suggested she'd seduced Logan Pierce to gain access to Aurora's donor database and planned to embezzle millions before disappearing. The author was listed as concerned citizen. Ava read it twice. Then she read the comments. Hundreds of them. Most believed every word. Some called for her arrest. Others called for Logan to resign for being so easily manipulated. One comment stood out. "I worked with Ava at Halstead and Crane. She was always sketchy. Asked too many questions. Wanted access to accounts she had no business touching. When Richard Connors tried to stop her, she went to compliance and tried to frame him. Classic narcissist behavior." The commenter's username was HCU Insider 2019. Ava stared at the screen. Someone at Halstead and Crane was actively sabotaging her. Someone with inside knowledge. Someone who knew exactly how to make the lies sound credible. She called the DA's office. Got voicemail. Left a message asking for the investigation timeline. She called her old mentor from business school. Got a polite brush-off and a suggestion that she lay low until things blow over. She called her landlord to explain the situation. He said he'd need next month's rent on time or he'd start eviction proceedings. By Thursday, the story had spread to national outlets. Billionaire's Foundation, embroiled in embezzlement scandal, ran on 3 major news sites. Cable business channels picked it up. A reporter from Bloomberg called asking for comment. Ava declined. She stopped checking her phone, stopped opening email, stopped looking at social media, where strangers dissected her character with the confidence of people who'd never met her. Friday afternoon, a knock on her door. Ava looked through the peephole. Logan Pierce stood in the hallway, hands in his coat pockets, expression unreadable. She opened the door. "You shouldn't be here," she said. "Probably not." Logan stepped inside anyway. He looked around the small apartment. The futon, the IKEA bookshelf, the coffee table covered in legal documents she'd been reviewing. "I need you to know something." "What?" "I don't believe a word of it." "The documents, the blog posts, the anonymous sources. None of it. Your board does. The board is scared. Scared people make defensive decisions. But I'm not scared. I'm angry." Ava's throat tightened. "You should be angry at me. I brought this to Aurora. You didn't bring anything. Someone targeted you, and they're using you to destroy what we built." Logan moved closer. "I hired a forensic accountant. She's tracing the transfers in those documents. If they're fake, and they are, we'll prove it. That could take weeks, then we wait weeks. Logan, Aurora could collapse by then. Donors are pulling out. Veronica Hale is probably drafting merger agreements as we speak. You need to cut ties with me. Publicly make a statement. Protect the foundation." "No, why not?" "Because I don't abandon people." Logan's voice was quiet but absolute. "Elena taught me that. You fight for what matters, even when it's hard. Especially when it's hard." Ava felt something crack inside her chest. "I can't ask you to risk everything for me. You're not asking. I'm choosing." He pulled an envelope from his coat. "This came to my office today. It's addressed to you." Ava took the envelope, opened it. Inside was a handwritten letter on lined paper. Child's handwriting. Crayon drawing in the corner. A stick figure woman with dark hair holding hands with a smaller stick figure. "Dear Miss Bennett, thank you for the grant that helped my mom's bakery. She says we can stay in our apartment now. I drew you because you're nice. I hope you come back soon. Love, Sophia, age 6. Ava stared at the letter, at the crayon drawing, at the evidence of something real and good and worth protecting. "Sophia's mother got our small business grant 2 months ago," Logan said. "You approved it. You did the site visit. You verified her business plan and made sure she had mentorship support. That bakery is thriving. Sophia's mother hired 2 employees. That's 3 families with stable income because you did your job. Well, one success doesn't erase the scandal. No, but it reminds us why we're fighting." Logan's hand found hers, warm, steady, real. "I need you to hold on a little longer. Can you do that?" Ava looked at him, at the man who'd given her an umbrella in the rain and a job when she had nothing and was now standing in her cramped apartment refusing to let her fall. "I can hold on," she said. "Good." Logan squeezed her hand once, then let go. "My forensic accountant's name is Rachel Kim. She'll call you Monday. Answer everything honestly. Give her access to whatever she needs. We're going to find who did this, and if we don't, we will." He left. The apartment felt emptier than before. But Ava held Sophia's letter and thought about bakeries and stick figure drawings, and the difference between systems that worked and systems that just looked impressive. She was going to fix this, or burn everything trying. Rachel Kim called Monday at 9 a.m. sharp, no pleasantries. "Just business. I've been analyzing the documents that surfaced online, the bank transfers, the electronic signatures. They're sophisticated forgeries, but they have tells." Ava's pulse spiked. "What kind of tells?" "The timestamps don't match Halstead and Crane's internal server logs. Whoever created these used old templates, probably from a system backup, but didn't account for time zone discrepancies. The transfers supposedly happened at 3:47 p.m. Pacific time. but the server logs show no activity from your account during that window. You were in a compliance meeting. I have the calendar invite and the conference room keycard log to prove it. Can you trace who created the forgeries? Working on it. But I found something else. The offshore account listed in these transfers? It was opened 6 years ago, long before you worked at Halstead & Crane. The beneficial owner is masked through shell companies, but I'm unraveling the structure. Give me 48 hours. What do you need from me? Everything. Personnel files. Email archives. Any communication you had with Richard Connors or Halstead & Crane's compliance department. And I need you to remember who had access to your computer, who knew your login credentials. Ava thought back. The IT department reset my password twice. Once when I started, once after a security update. Who handled IT? A contractor. I don't remember his name, but he had administrator access to everyone's systems. Find that name. Ava called Halstead & Crane's HR department. Got stonewalled. Called former colleagues. Most didn't answer. 2 hung up when they heard her voice. Finally, she reached Jessica Torres, a junior analyst who'd started the same week Ava had. Jessica, I need a favor. Ava, I can't. Just listen. Do you remember the IT contractor who did our security updates? Tall guy, always wore black. Had a badge that said Tech Secure Solutions. Silence then. Marcus Reeves. But Ava, he doesn't work here anymore. He left right after you did. Do you know where he went? No, but I heard he was close with someone in accounting. They used to have lunch together. A woman named... God, what was her name? Diana something. Diana Marsh? Yes, that's it. Ava hung up. Googled Diana Marsh. Found her on LinkedIn. Former accountant at Halstead & Crane, currently unemployed. Last post, 3 months ago, complaining about corporate betrayal and loyalty being a one-way street. She called Rachel Kim. I have a name. Diana Marsh. She worked in accounting at Halstead & Crane. She had access to financial systems and was friends with the IT contractor who managed employee credentials. Send me everything you have on her now. Ava did. Then she waited. The hours stretched. She made coffee she didn't drink. Paced the apartment. Checked her phone compulsively. At 11 p.m., Rachel called back. I found the connection. Diana Marsh opened the offshore account. She used a shell company registered in Delaware, standard setup for hiding beneficial ownership. But she made a mistake. She filed a change of address form with the registered agent 6 months ago. New address links back to a property in Marin County, owned by a limited liability corporation. And guess who's listed as the LLC's manager? Who? Veronica Hale. Ava's breath stopped. Veronica hired Diana to forge the documents? More than that. I traced Diana's employment history. After she left Halstead & Crane, she went to work for Meridian Trust, Veronica's foundation. As a senior accountant, she had access to Aurora's donor database through a data-sharing agreement between our organizations. She knew exactly who to target and how to make it look credible. Can you prove it? I can prove Diana opened the offshore account. I can prove she had access to your credentials through Marcus Reeves. I can prove the timestamps on the forged documents don't match reality. But I need one more piece. Testimony from someone inside Halstead and Crane who can confirm Diana and Richard Connors worked together to cover up the Pemberton account. Richard won't talk. Then find someone who will, Ava thought. Then she remembered. James Park, compliance officer at Halstead & Crane. He'd been the one to receive her emails about the Pemberton discrepancies. He'd been the one who'd interviewed her before she was fired. She found his number in her old contacts. Called. Got voicemail. James, this is Ava Bennett. I know you probably don't want to hear from me, but I need your help. Diana Marsh forged documents to frame me. She's working with Veronica Hale to destroy Aurora Foundation. If you have any evidence, emails, meeting notes, anything that shows what really happened with Pemberton, I need it, please. She hung up. Stared at her phone, waited. At 2 a.m., she got a text. Meet me tomorrow. 8 a.m. cafe on Powell Street. Come alone. Ava didn't sleep. She showed up 15 minutes early. Ordered coffee. Sat by the window and watched the street. James Park arrived exactly at 8. Mid-40s, tired eyes. He sat across from her without ordering anything. I shouldn't be here, he said, but you are. I have a family, a mortgage. If Halstead & Crane finds out I talked to you, they won't, I promise. James pulled a USB drive from his jacket, set it on the table. Everything's on here. emails between Richard Connors and Diana Marsh, meeting transcripts, the original Pemberton account audit, the one that showed Richard was siphoning funds. Diana helped him cover it up. When you started asking questions, they decided to get rid of you. Why are you giving me this? Because I was in that compliance meeting when you flagged the discrepancies. I saw the evidence. I wrote a report recommending further investigation. Richard buried it. Then he fired you and told everyone you were the problem. I didn't speak up. I should have. This is me speaking up. Ava took the USB drive. Thank you. Don't thank me. Just finish this, he left. Ava sat there with the drive in her hand, feeling the weight of proof, the architecture of justice finally taking shape. She called Logan. I have it. The evidence. All of it. Where are you? Cafe on Powell. Stay there. I'm coming. Everything's about to change. Subscribe now. You won't want to miss the confrontation. Logan arrived with Rachel Kim and an attorney named Marcus Chen, tall, precise, carrying a leather briefcase that looked like it cost more than Ava's car. They took over a corner table. Ava handed Rachel the USB drive. Rachel plugged it into her laptop. Read for 10 minutes. Then she looked up. This is it. Everything we need. Emails proving Diana and Richard conspired to embezzle from Pemberton. Meeting notes showing they planned to frame you. Account access logs proving Diana used Marcus Reeves to get your credentials and, she scrolled, a signed affidavit from Richard Connors admitting to the scheme. Looks like he cut a deal with the DA's office 2 weeks ago. He's testifying against Diana in exchange for reduced charges. So Richard sold her out, Ava said. People do that when they're facing prison time. Marcus Chen leaned forward. Here's what we do. We package this evidence, file a comprehensive report with the DA. Simultaneously, we release a public statement from Aurora Foundation, exonerating Ava, explaining the conspiracy, and announcing legal action against Diana Marsh and Veronica Hale for defamation and fraud. Veronica will fight back, Logan said. Let her. We have documentation, witness testimony, timeline analysis. She can't refute facts. When do we go public? Tonight. Aurora's winter gala is scheduled for 7 p.m. 200 donors. Press coverage. We use it as the platform. Present the evidence. Clear Ava's name. Restore Aurora's reputation. And we do it in front of everyone who matters. Ava's stomach twisted. That's in 8 hours. Then we have 8 hours to prepare. Marcus stood. Rachel, compile the evidence into a presentation. Logan, draft the statement. Ava, you'll need to be ready to speak. Can you do that? I don't know. Yes, you can, Logan said quietly. You've done harder things. The gala was at a waterfront venue in Soma. Floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking the bay. White tablecloths. Champagne towers. String quartet playing in the corner. Donors in tuxedos and evening gowns circulating with drinks. Talking about tax deductions and investment portfolios. Ava arrived in the only formal dress she owned. The black one from Mrs. Whitmore's dinner. Claire had sent a car. Logan had sent a text, "You've got this." Inside, the room hummed with wealth and expectation. Ava spotted Veronica Hale near the bar, holding court with 3 board members. Veronica saw her and smiled. Predatory, triumphant. Logan was on stage, microphone in hand, giving opening remarks. He thanked donors, highlighted Aurora's Seattle expansion, mentioned new programs launching in the spring. Standard gala speech. Then he paused. Before we continue, Logan said, I need to address recent events. Many of you have read stories suggesting Aurora Foundation is involved in financial misconduct. Some of those stories name our director of programs, Ava Bennett. I want to set the record straight tonight publicly with evidence. The room went silent. Even the string quartet stopped playing. Logan gestured to the screen behind him. Rachel's presentation appeared. First slide, the truth about the Pemberton account. 3 months ago, Logan continued, Ava Bennett was fired from Halstead and Crane after flagging financial irregularities. She did her job. She followed protocol. She reported fraud. In response, she was scapegoated. Then 2 weeks ago, forged documents surfaced online suggesting Ava had embezzled funds herself. Those documents were created by Diana Marsh, a former accountant at Halstead and Crane who conspired with Ava's boss, Richard Connors, to steal from clients. The presentation advanced. Emails, transfer records, timestamps that didn't match. Diana Marsh now works for Meridian Trust, Logan said. a foundation run by Veronica Hale, who has been attempting to merge with or dismantle Aurora for 2 years. When we refused, she targeted our newest team member. She forged evidence. She planted false stories. She tried to destroy Ava's reputation to undermine Aurora's credibility. Veronica stood. "This is slander. I'll sue you for every—" "You're welcome to try." Marcus Chen appeared beside the stage holding a folder. "We have documentation, witness statements, digital forensics, and Richard Connors' signed confession, submitted to the district attorney 2 weeks ago. He's testifying against you both." Veronica's face went white. She looked around the room, at donors staring, at board members backing away, at reporters filming everything. "Furthermore," Marcus continued, "we've filed defamation charges against you and Diana Marsh. The DA's office is opening a formal investigation into fraud and conspiracy. You're free to leave, but I'd suggest staying in California." Veronica grabbed her coat and walked out. Fast, 2 board members followed. The room erupted in whispered conversations. Logan held up a hand. "I'm not finished." The room quieted again. Ava Bennett did nothing wrong. She was targeted because she has integrity, because she refused to look away when she saw fraud, because she's exactly the kind of person Aurora needs. He turned to face her. "Ava, would you come up here?" Every eye in the room swung to her. Ava's legs felt like water. But she walked to the stage. Logan handed her the microphone. "I don't have a speech prepared," Ava said. Her voice echoed through the space. "I just want to say this isn't about me. It's about systems, about what we do when we see something wrong. I flagged fraud because it was the right thing to do. I got fired for it. Then someone tried to make me the villain of a story I never wanted to be part of." She looked at the donors, at the reporters, at Logan standing beside her. Aurora Foundation exists because Logan Pierce understands that dignity isn't charity. It's infrastructure. It's seeing people as capable and building systems that prove it. I'm honored to be part of that. And I'm grateful to everyone who believed in me when the evidence said not to. Applause started, slow at first, then building. Ava stepped off the stage and Logan met her at the bottom. "Well done," he said quietly. "I'm shaking." "You should be." That was terrifying. The gala continued. Donors approached with apologies and pledges. Reporters asked for interviews. The board chair, a woman named Margaret Santos, pulled Ava aside. "I owe you an apology," Margaret said. The board panicked. "We should have trusted Logan's judgment. You were protecting Aurora." "No. We were protecting our reputations." "That's different." Margaret extended a hand. "Welcome back, officially." At midnight, the gala finally ended. Ava and Logan stood on the venue's outdoor terrace, looking at the city lights reflected in the bay. The fog had cleared. Stars were visible. "Thank you," Ava said. "For what?" "For not giving up." Logan turned to face her. "I told you. I don't abandon people. I know. But you could have. It would have been easier. Easier isn't always right." He reached into his jacket, pulled out an envelope. "This came today. From Sophia's mother." Ava opened it. Another crayon drawing. This one showed 3 stick figures. A woman with dark hair, a man in a suit, and a small girl with a violin. "Thank you for coming back. Love, Maya." Ava's throat closed. "Maya drew this? She's been asking about you. Every day. When you were gone, she stopped playing violin. Said there was no point if you weren't there to hear her mess up. Logan, I'm not asking you to be her mother. Elena will always be her mother. But Maya trusts you. That's rare. And precious. And if you're willing, I'd like you to be part of her life. Our life." Ava looked at him. At the man who'd caught her in the rain and given her an umbrella and built his entire life around keeping promises to people he loved. "I'd like that too," she said. Logan smiled. Actually smiled. Then he leaned in, slow, careful, giving her every chance to pull away, and kissed her. The city sprawled below them. The bay reflected stars, and for the first time in months, Ava felt like she'd found solid ground. Spring came quietly. Diana Marsh was indicted on 12 counts of fraud and conspiracy. Richard Connors testified against her in exchange for a reduced sentence. 3 years eligible for parole in 18 months. Veronica Hale resigned from Meridian Trust. The organization dissolved 6 months later. Assets distributed to other nonprofits. Aurora Foundation expanded into Seattle, Portland, and Denver. Every program Ava designed included long-term tracking, mentorship support, and dignity-first principles. The board approved a new initiative, career transition grants for people who'd been scapegoated or wrongfully terminated. They called it the Second Chance Program. Ava moved out of her studio apartment and into a townhouse in Noe Valley. 2 bedrooms, a small garden, room for Sophia's thank you letters, which arrived monthly, each one with a new crayon drawing. Maya's violin playing improved. Slowly. She joined the school orchestra and performed at the spring concert. This time, Ava sat in the front row beside Logan, and when Maya took her bow, she looked straight at them and grinned. On a Saturday in May, Logan invited Ava to brunch. Just the 3 of them. They went to a cafe near the park, the same one where he'd offered her the job 6 months ago. Maya ordered pancakes. Logan ordered black coffee. Ava got a cortado because some habits were worth keeping. "I have something for you," Logan said. He pulled a small box from his jacket. Ava's pulse jumped. "Logan, it's not what you think. Open it." Inside was a key. Simple, silver, no label. "It's for the Aurora office," Logan explained. "Senior leadership access. You're part of the foundation's core now. Officially." Maya leaned over. "Dad said you're staying." "I am." "Good, because you're bad at violin and I need someone to be bad with." Ava laughed. Actually laughed. And in that moment, pancakes and coffee and a key that meant trust, she realized she'd built something real. Not perfect, not without scars, but real. 2 months later, Aurora Foundation hosted a quiet ceremony for the Second Chance program's first cohort of grant recipients. 15 people, all of them fired or forced out for doing the right thing, all of them rebuilding careers and lives with Aurora's support. Ava stood at the podium looking at faces that mirrored her own story. "Dignity," she said, "isn't something we give people. It's something we recognize. You already had it. The world just forgot to look." Aurora exists to build systems that remember, that see potential instead of failure, that measure success not by how fast you rise but by how well you sustain. After the ceremony, a woman approached. Mid-30s. Nurse's scrubs. Name tag Carla M. "I was fired for reporting unsafe staffing levels," Carla said. "Hospital blacklisted me. I couldn't get work for 8 months. Then Aurora's grant let me retrain as a home care specialist. Now I run my own practice. 6 employees. All of us focused on patient dignity, not corporate metrics." "That's exactly what this is for," Ava said. "I wanted to say thank you." "And," Carla hesitated, "I read about what happened to you. The forgery. The scandal. You could have walked away. Why didn't you?" Ava thought about rain-soaked sidewalks and umbrellas held by strangers. About Logan's hand finding hers in a fog-wrapped car. About Maya's crayon drawings and Sophia's bakery and systems built to honor the dead by protecting the living. "Because walking away would have meant they won," Ava said, "and I wasn't ready to let them win." That evening, Logan picked Ava up for dinner. Not a gala, not a donor event, just dinner. They drove to a restaurant in the Mission, small, quiet, no press, and sat by the window. "Maya wants to know if you'll come to her summer recital," Logan said. "Of course. She also wants to know if you'll teach her piano. She's decided violin is too hard. Piano is just as hard." I told her that. She said it doesn't matter if you're learning together. Ava smiled. Smart kid. She gets it from her mother. Logan's expression softened. "Elena would have liked you. You're both stubborn in the right ways. I wish I could have met her." "Me too." He reached across the table, took Ava's hand. "But I think she'd be glad you're here now. Maya needs people who see her, who don't try to fix her. Just see her. I'm not going anywhere." "I know. That's why this works." They ate slowly, talked about the foundation's next expansion, about Maya's school project on marine biology, about the garden Ava was planting in her townhouse, herbs and tomatoes and a stubborn rosemary bush that refused to grow straight. When they left, the fog was rolling in. Logan pulled Ava close, wrapped his coat around her shoulders. They walked 3 blocks in silence, and Ava thought about how love, real love, wasn't dramatic. It was this: shared coats and quiet walks and promises kept one day at a time. A year after the gala, Aurora Foundation published its annual impact report. The numbers were good. Grant recipients thriving, programs scaling responsibly. donor confidence restored. But the metric Ava cared about most was on page 17, 87% of second chance. Program participants still employed or running sustainable businesses after 12 months. Logan framed that page, hung it in his office beside Elena's photo. This is what systems change looks like, he told Ava. Not perfect, but real. Elena would be proud, she would, and so am I. On a Sunday morning in October, 1 year and 3 days after Logan had caught Ava in the rain, they went back to that cafe on Market Street. Same table, same order. Black coffee and a cortado. Why are we here? Ava asked. Logan pulled a small box from his jacket. This time it wasn't a key. Because this is where it started, he said. And I wanted to ask you something. He opened the box. Inside was a ring. Simple. Silver band with a single sapphire. Elegant. Understated. Exactly right. I'm not asking you to replace Elena, Logan said, or to be Maya's mother. I'm asking if you'll build something new with us. Something that honors the past but doesn't live in it. Something real. Ava looked at the ring, at Logan, at the life they'd built from rain and scandal and systems that measured dignity and outcomes. Yes, she said. The moral. Dignity isn't given. It's recognized. Real justice doesn't come from perfect systems. It comes from people who refuse to look away when something's broken. And second chances aren't charity. They're infrastructure. Built slowly, sustained honestly, measured not by how fast you rise but by how well you endure. When someone tries to destroy your reputation, remember, the truth has weight. Evidence has architecture. And courage isn't fearlessness, it's knowing the danger and moving forward anyway. What would you have done in Ava's position? Would you have fought back or walked away? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. And hit subscribe for more stories about courage, justice, and second chances that actually stick.